We're just going to wait for a couple of minutes so we can get everyone into the webinar, and we'll look to kick off by 5 past. So last call for a cup of tea or coffee. Right, guys, I'm going to kick off now. So thank you all for joining this morning. I'm Brian Barnard, Business Manager at Infinigate, and I lead up the SonicWall team here in the UK. I'm joined by Dominic Wild, the Senior Solutions Engineer, and Tristan, hopefully, who many of you know already, the Regional Director at SonicWall. So today in this session, we'll be covering SonicWall's Cloud Threat Analytics solution. We're going to try and keep it high level and keep it into 2 parts. The first of why it's relevant to your customer base and an overview of the solution. And then Tristan, we're going to pass over to Tristan, and he's going to give you an overview of a use case that we ran with one of our partners last year, and how you can take this to market to your customer base and really hit the road to revenue early and get a wider footprint into your customer base. We'll then open up the floor to any questions. There is a chat box available to you on this webinar. So any questions as we go along, please pop them in the chat. And at the end, Tristan and Dom will run a little Q&A and we can go through those. Prior to passing over to Dom, I just want to take this chance to maybe give you a bit of an overview of Infinigate and how our SonicWall team fares now, because look, we've been a distributor for many years, decades in fact. But in the last 6 to 8 months, we have really upped our investment within our SonicWall team and how we can support you sort of take SonicWall to market and build your SonicWall channel. So Dom, next slide, please. So I just wanted to highlight, the team you have available to support you and your businesses here in the UK. So you've got myself that leads up the team. We're a team of 12 strong. I lead up the team, and I've got 3 BDMs, which is Sai, Chris, and Adiola. We tried to match them to SonicWall's sort of TAM regional sort of partner layout. So Chris is the business development manager in the north. Sai and Adiola share the nationals and south accounts. You'll see as well our internal sales support. We've got a team of 5 strong. We appreciate distribution is developing, right? And we try and become more than just your bog standard distributors. But when it comes to SonicWall, we know the importance of the basics. So we've got 5 strong to deal with any inbound and operational requests for you guys. So in terms of getting quotes and orders out quickly, we've got a team of 5 to really support you there. So we're in a really good position to scale and develop your businesses moving forward. If you see on the bottom left, we have Chris Fitzgerald. I hope he's a familiar name for most of you. He heads up our pre and post sales consultancy team. Zoe is also in his team, and they are there to support you and your businesses with any pre and post sales queries that you may have. But also from a training point of view, Chris is a certified SonicWall trainer, so we can get you accredited and up to speed if needs be. We also have Monica. She's our marketing manager, solely dedicated to SonicWall. She's there to support the sales and marketing efforts and help drive growth within your organizations. Dom, next slide, please. So I'm hoping many of you might use some of these avenues of support already, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to highlight what we can do for you and your businesses and how we can support you from a value add point of view when it comes to dealing with SonicWall within Infinigate. So, like I said, some of this might not be news to some of you, but it may be for some. And if you want to sort of take this up after the call, please reach out to myself or the SonicWall team. So I'll want to take literally 2 seconds to brag. We are SonicWall's distributor of the year FY26. But in terms of how we can support you and your businesses, we offer a monthly price book that we build on obviously a monthly basis, and this is tailored and dedicated to any initiatives for that month. So if you're not on a mailing list already, please reach out and we can get you added. I won't go through all of these, but I mentioned about the pre and post sales services and training. We do have a customer portal which you can self-serve if needs be. You can work with your BDMs as well to maybe get some stock profiling to make sure we've got the right stock for you and your businesses moving forward. And in terms of a credit and finance point of view, we have many options. We try to be as agile as possible to facilitate the deals for you and your businesses, but we also have finance options available should you want to, or you or your end users procure a deal on a monthly, quarterly or annual basis. We are also able to ship to the EU via NL Warehouse. This enables us to sort of circumnavigate the VAT charges. You don't have to worry about that. When it comes to stock, we have sort of 2 standout offerings in terms of what we can do for your businesses. One is the bill and hold. We can hold it in a virtual warehouse and you can call off stock if you've done a bulk order. Or when it comes to conversions, if we haven't got a certain SKU in stock, we can convert that into another iteration to fulfill the deal. And I mentioned about Monica as well in terms of how we can support you and your businesses when it comes to the sales and marketing efforts to really drive and grow your SonicWall number. So that's it for me in terms of an Infinigate point of view. Any questions on Infinigate, please drop them in the chat or reach out to me or my team after this call. We are here to support you. We've got a big team, so please reach out. It'll be good to engage with you all further. So I'm going to pass you over to Dom now, who's going to give you an overview of the CTA solution and why it's relevant to your customer base.
Excellent. Thanks, Ryan. And thanks, everyone, for joining. So my name's Dominic Wild. I've actually been with SonicWall for over 10 years, and I'm a senior solutions engineer based here in the UK and working closely with Tristan and his team. And what we want to do today is take you through our cloud threat analytics capabilities. So, with a lot of small businesses today, especially since COVID, a lot of organizations are moving more of their data and applications to the cloud. Okay, so we're moving a lot of that information and access to our resources into the cloud. And that has created some challenges around how small businesses are able to track usage of those applications, who's accessing them and who's accessing them from where, and making sure that access to those resources stays secure. Okay. So this goes beyond just email. We know a lot of customers today have gone to a cloud email solution, but when we look at other SaaS applications like Salesforce, Slack, and a whole raft of other applications that customers are using today, that just increases the attack surface for cyber criminals to get into your organization and to access your user accounts, access that data. And if you're not properly monitoring that, then it's really easy for them to steal that data. Now, when we look at the threats themselves, now that SonicWall has its own SOC capabilities, we actually see that around 83% of customer-related alerts that we see in our managed service team actually come from cloud apps and cloud services. Okay, so it's not necessarily attacks from inside the network now. It's unauthorized access to these cloud apps, access from users from geolocations that they're not there, And this is becoming a real problem for small businesses. So it goes way beyond the endpoint. And as managed MSPs, who's helping to secure small businesses, your clients are really counting on you to be able to help to protect those cloud services that they're moving into. Okay. And because that attack surface is so big, it's really important to have a central capability to monitor those alerts and to react to them quickly. And one of the advantages of having a managed service that can do this is that we can see trends across different applications. So if we see a trend in, say, an unauthorized access to different applications coming from the same geographical location or set of IPs, we know that that's a threat actor trying to get into these applications, and we can block them across the board and not just on a per app basis. Okay, and we can do that for all of our customers. So having a central location for that to detect and monitor those alerts has a wide impact on how we protect all of our customers and all of your customers at the same time. So what exactly is Cloud Threat Analytics? So what we do within our SOC team is to monitor any of your SaaS applications, and we're looking for unusual activity. So as I say, successful logins from outside approved locations. So have those accounts been compromised? Are they being used to log in from locations your users are not working from? Things like multi-factor authentication. A key part of keeping your users secure today is having 2FA or MFA turned on. Is it turned on for all of your users? Has it been disabled for some reason? And is that currently active? Are we seeing a lot of excessive file downloads from your cloud storage? Okay, that could be a good sign that somebody has accessed it and is downloading data that they shouldn't be. Or any of your user credentials being elevated. So your normal users suddenly to do admin activities that they shouldn't be able to. Key things like email forwarding rules, rules being created that is automatically forwarding important emails off to other mailboxes. And also changes in security policies, changing in those permissions that users can create rules, access data that they shouldn't be able to. So all of these things are signs of malicious activity. And for most small businesses, they're not aware necessarily that they firstly need to look for these kind of activities, but secondly, with their cloud apps, they very often don't know how to identify this kind of activity and how to deal with it quickly. So what can we do as part of our service? So by monitoring all these apps simultaneously and for multiple customers, we can quickly see trends and threats, and we can proactively stop those before they escalate. Not just for the single customer that's currently being attacked, but we can proactively put blocks in for all those applications and customers at the same time. That helps you to reduce your alert noise, so we can filter through all the alerts and logs that you're getting from these apps to identify those alerts that you need to deal with quickly. And we can automatically remediate those in seconds or minutes to help block that activity. And then we maintain those logs for 360 days. So for those customers that want to have reports on a weekly or monthly basis to see what threats have come in and what activity has been blocked, we can easily generate those reports for your customers. So the key thing to note here is this is a service and not a product, right? So we're not asking you or your customer to install anything on the network. We don't need monitor servers or anything. We can do this as a service and provide 24/7 monitoring of all those SaaS accounts, look at their activity, and detect and isolate any anomalous or potentially malicious activity immediately. Okay, to do this, we have live SOC analysts that work 24/7, and we also have some AI-based SIM technology that filter the alerts and the logs that come in to help identify those potential threats. And this can be applied to any of your SaaS applications. Okay, so it's not specific because we're not installing anything into these applications ourselves. We're re-monitoring activity and logs. We can pretty much cover any of the SaaS applications that your customers use. And as I say, 83% of the alerts and threats that we see, we can deal with very quickly. Typically, they come from misconfiguration within those applications. So we can detect, we can remediate, and we can also recommend changes to make your SaaS applications more secure going forward. Now, the key thing is that the MSP is central to this process. So our SOC team will communicate anything we see and the actions we take to you as a partner, and then it allows you to take that information down to your customers to show them what we've detected, what we've managed to block, and to recommend changes with that customer going forward. This is all part of our SOC services here at SonicWall. We have our Sonic Sentry managed XDR allows us to manage not just cloud applications, which we're talking about here, but we can also provide similar services for a lot of your on-prem and endpoint apps, like your endpoint, any of your networking hardware, like your firewalls and your switches and your access points. And of course, because we're looking at cloud threat analytics today, applications like Office 365 is obviously a key part of that. G Suite as well can also be monitored with our cloud threat analytics. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Tristan. He's still there. Nope.
I think Tristan might have
be
timed fire alarm.
So he told me that might be happening.
So he will be back, and thank you.
There he is.
Apologies, had a connection problem. So apologies for that. So Dom, thanks for the overview. I think I just wanted to touch on a couple of points really from our side. So from a SonicWall perspective, this product's separate to anything else in the portfolio. So you don't need to be a SonicWall firewall customer of ours. This can run completely independent. You don't even need to be a SonicWall partner at this point. We can just get you enrolled into our program, and then you can make use of the technology and the offering that we have in place. So one example I wanted to give to you today was of a platinum partner of ours. They've been a platinum partner of ours for around 20 years. They were running 365, but they'd obviously identified within their estate the opportunity to enhance the protection of their customers over and above what came just as part of the native 365 tools. So in conjunction with the partner, we rolled out a 30-day free licensing model for their customers. And then in that time, they ran a opt-out campaign, email communications, education to their customer base. And then at the end of that period, those customers then had the choice to either opt out and no longer take the service, or continue with that service. This obviously meant that this generated an additional revenue stream that they didn't have initially. And ultimately, from the partner's perspective, there was no risk. They rolled this out, they deployed it within their customer environment, and after 30 days, whoever hadn't opted out was basically billed for the technology, and those that had opted out no longer made use of the service. So, you know, a very low risk way of introducing the product into their customer base. I think also, and if you choose to take this technology and offering on, what's great with it, I was talking to a customer about it yesterday, that it's very easy to demonstrate the value it's returning. So because of the reporting and the analytical data that Dominic touched on previously, it's really easy for a partner to demonstrate to a customer the value that the product is providing back. So, you know, that for itself is, you know, it makes it very easy to justify the additional cost from a customer perspective. Next slide, please, Dom. So a little bit about the process. So I think one key thing for me is this is all done via our service provider program. So you basically, as a partner, provision all your own licensing. You know, there's no need to repeatedly, as your estate grows and as you onboard new customers, there isn't a need or a requirement to, you know, be repeating and sending numerous purchase orders over to the team at Infinigate for additional licenses. You can go in, you can do all that yourself. So, and then retrospectively, you just get billed a month in arrears by ourselves. So, and in turn through Infinigate. So that's a very easy process. Your responsibility as a partner, so you provide the onboarding and technical contact details. You'll configure the SaaS applications that you obviously want monitored, and in this case it's 365. And then your responsibility is to investigate and respond to any of the SOC alerts that we present to you through our Sonic Sentry team. In return, what we do is we will deliver onboarding support and platform guidance, set up a configuration of the environment to ensure that it's working how we need to gain you the data and ultimately provide that additional layer of security. And then provisioning of the SaaS alerts as well. So if there is an issue and something needs to be, you need to be alerted of something, you know, it's set up in a way that allows that to happen. The SOC services include, you know, threat detection and alerting, mitigation of confirmed threats, and custom detection rules as well. So, you know, it can be tailored to how you want it to, how you want it to work. Also this can grow with you as a partner. So I think if we go back to that billing piece, you know, you could start this off with a subset of customers, and the more, as you onboard more and more customers to the service, if you choose to do it that way, you just provision those additional users as and when you need to, and you get billed in arrears. Should, for, you know, a scenario where a customer leaves a partner and you need to reduce your monthly billing, you can of course do that as well. There's no annual commits, there's no minimum user counts. So it's quite a dynamic service in the fact it can kind of flex up and down with you depending on your customer needs and requirements. I really liked the opt-out campaign that the partner did that I talked about previously, because I think, you know, that was a good way for a partner to generate additional revenue streams over and above the 365 billion that they're doing already. The additional cost wasn't huge, but they were able to demonstrate value to those customers, as I said, by the reporting and the analytical data that was available to the partner, and then, you know, in turn to that end customer. Next slide, please, Dom. So I think before I pass back to Ryan, we did have a couple of questions. One question actually, Dom, you can maybe cover these two if you don't mind. So one of the questions was, I'm running email security. How is this going to do anything different to what my email security is doing already?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, most people are using a SaaS-based email solution today, and that technology is great at filtering your email, looking for phishing attacks, looking for any malware that's coming in, and controlling what data is flowing out of your email from your users. But that's only one application. Office 365 or your email is just one application, and typically customers using multiple SaaS applications today, whether it's things like Salesforce, Sage for accounting, Slack for online communication. There's a whole raft of different SaaS applications which also need to be monitored and secured, as well as your email.
Thanks, Dom. And then one other question, and I think this is quite relevant because I know certainly in the past we've seen it with customers that have deployed maybe new AV on their devices. How heavy as a service is Cloud Threat Analytics on the user? What's the impact on the user experience, if any?
Really, there shouldn't be any, to be honest. I mean, we're monitoring the activity in the SaaS app itself, so that's not running on the endpoint at all. And yes, we are consuming logs from certain applications into our SOC and our SIM services. But again, that's already done in the cloud. So from a user point of view, they shouldn't see any overhead or any slowdown of their applications from their end.
Great, thank you, Dom. One other question, I'll take this one. If I wanted to build a campaign out to my customer base, can we help with that? So absolutely, we've got the collateral and we can work with the marketing team, Monica at Infinigate, around providing you with white label content that you can share with your customers from both an email content perspective, any kind of virtual webinars or education pieces you want to put onto your customers or put in front of your customers to show them why you're doing it and demonstrate the value that the product and of course most importantly the additional layers of security it's going to give you. We have all that collateral, so don't feel like you've got to go and create it yourselves. If you chose to, if off the back of today you went, actually we've got a 365 estate that we think this would deliver some value to or deliver an additional layer of security to, and we want to run this campaign, very simple for us to set that up and get that moving with you. But look, thanks for your time. I hope you found it very useful. Obviously feel free to reach out to us after. Ryan, I'll pass back to you to cover off anything from Infinigate side.
Lovely, thanks Tristan and Dom. Great session that. I think it's given some really good insights. So for me, just wrapping up, guys, sort of piggyback on what Tristan just said there. We've seen firsthand a real sort of proven blueprint of how we can take this to market to your customer base with a real relevant solution to your customers, which in turn will just increase your revenue and your footprint in that partner or customer, I should say. So look, I'd love nothing more to engage with you, your businesses, and how we can take this to your customer base. So my team will be reaching out just to see if there's any appetite to take this further. We can maybe go a little bit deeper into the blueprint itself and see if we can try to replicate that within your customer base. But that is literally it for me and the SonicWall team. So once again, thank you very much for joining. Any questions outside of this, please reach out to us directly or to your BDM. Always happy to discuss this and how we can sort of deepen our engagement with you. So like I said, that's it for me. Thank you very much. And I will... Oh, sorry, just really quickly, I think in the chat, that's the email address you can reach out to. That's collectively got the Infinigate team at the SonicWall team at Infinigate. So please reach out. Any questions? We want to engage with you, want to drive the business. So yeah, thank you and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you.